There you go. Got it. Can you move? All right, we're going to start in half pigeon on the right hand side. Ta-da! So you might need a blanket or block underneath your hip. If you don't have one available or your dog keeps running away, you can always just roll onto your right hip and bend your left knee. So it's a little bit like deer pigeon. Take a couple moments to settle in. And really, it's also okay to have your right hip lifted a little bit. It's more about how it feels in your body. And then walk your hands forward, come into sleeping pigeon, because that's a much nicer way to start a class first thing in the morning where you're still kind of asleep. Take a full breath in, and with your exhale, just sigh it out through your mouth. Ah. So whether it's been a day or a couple of hours or like a year or 2 months or something like that since you've done yoga, just allow your breath to kind of let you settle down, to let you notice if you have worries or concerns, and you can kind of leave them by the side of your yoga mat. Don't take them away from your practice, but you'll notice when we are in the routine, when we are in the habit of a practice, that our worries and concerns are very different after we've had a class. I'm going to read Buddha's 5 Remembrances like Thich Nhat Hanh wrote it down, or how he wrote it down. And it's not so essential to recite it the way Thich Nhat Hanh wrote it down, but really that you get the essence of what it's saying. Because especially in times where we have so much worry and fear is really, politically supported and encouraged for a healthy, robust capitalist system, we want to really work with that in ourselves, because whenever we take up a task, even in our inner life, the work that we do on it, it can have not only ripple effects in our own life, but really this idea that if we are all one, then my work on something like fear or dread or jealousy or envy, that actually my inner work does have this kind of acupuncture effect in the world. That once one person works on something, it becomes more work done in the whole world. So Buddha's 5 Remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There's no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There's no way to escape ill health. I am of the nature to die. There's no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are the nature of change. There's no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequence of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. So the underlying idea also is that there are, there's no way to escape feeling older, feeling sick. There's no way, all of those are like the big things. And if we can kind of take those out of our way, then we notice the suffering that we're left with. Also can't quite be avoided. But it's not a form of punishment. It is part of the way. So start to walk your hands back, and you're going to roll onto your right buttocks or whichever knees in front. So in your case, Layla, it's up. Both of you ladies are the left buttocks. So whichever knees, you just roll open so that you have one of your knees is still bent. The one that's still bent is still bent. And you're going to just stretch up, wiggle around, work it out, maybe do a little twisty twists, interpretive dance. Yes. And then walk yourself forward. Straight down the middle so you can feel your heel kind of maybe pushing into your belly, maybe not. It's a half butterfly, half dragonfly. Take a full breath in with your exhale. Let your breath sigh out through your mouth. Notice your body respond to that type of exhale a little bit more deeply, maybe even than your normal exhale. So in our being, we have an experience of our own body. And sometimes that's what our suffering is seemingly connected to. And then other times, not other times, but we can have a feeling of our body, but we can also have a very, intense feeling of our experience of our own feelings. And then also, we can really live in and notice our own thinking. But these elements aren't quite as separate as our two legs. Aren't as kind of segregated as they are in our language. So you may notice that you script a feeling response to physical suffering in your body usually. And you may even notice sometimes that then you put a story to it in your thinking. With your inhale, roll up, and you're just gonna twist a couple times again. And this time you wanna twist so your belly button is facing, if your belly button was a face, your knee face. And then bow over your leg, your extended leg. Sometimes I even like to take my right hand, the opposite hand of the leg, and just put on the outside of the leg, and you can really relax it there. And it's a really nice way of like passively helping you with the twist here. Again, take a full inhale, and with your exhale, just sigh it out. Notice if you can soften your tongue. Let your jaw be unclenched. And then with your next inhale, roll up, and you're going to take your left or whatever leg is extended, take that hand behind you. Nope, whichever leg is not extended, take your hand behind you and then stretch one side of your body. I like this holy good morning stretch. And then come back down, bend your left leg or the other leg, and take the formerly bent leg long behind you. You might have to make adjustments, wiggle around, use some props. However, it's working for you and your body today. And start to walk your chest forward by walking your hands out. Maybe you have a pillow or a dog to rest your head on. Perfect. Just letting you know who's in charge. We all express love in different ways. And then maybe it's helpful to you to sigh out, maybe let your shoulders relax. Feel the weight evenly distributed in both of your hips. Sometimes we can have a tendency to kind of roll away from the suffering here. Instead, breathe towards it. So as much as it's tempting to start to understand ourselves like animals, when there's so much overlap with the natural world that we share, we also want to honor our innate inborn wisdom. And notice that when we contemplate our physical body, it doesn't exhaust knowing ourselves. If we focus on our feeling life, again, we understand that that's not our entirety. And you may even notice that even contemplating our thinking life has a similar effect. It doesn't exhaust capacity we have or a sense of self. Instead, we are this tangible physical being with our physical nature hosting our emotional nature. And more than we know, our physical existence allows our thinking. But even then, we know there's something else, something more. And then start to slide your elbows underneath your shoulders, extend your arms, and roll to, I guess you could say, the outside, or roll to whatever buttocks your knee is bent on. And then maybe you want to do some organic interpretive dance movements again, just to notice how unique and special we each are. Woo-hoo! And then walk your torso, your body straight down the middle line to your magical creature that's half butterfly, half dragonfly, and a little bit of caterpillar. Notice what you do to come into a posture fully. You move your body. You allow your breath to settle. Often, already we have an attitude or a feeling about the pose or thoughts about the pose. But as we come into the posture, they can soften. It can also get more intense. But things aren't so often as we imagined. Or more likely as we feared. I think fear is a little bit like judgments. Like, it'd be really nice if we could just get rid of fear. But then again, it's actually an essential tool for even such simple things as like crossing the street, or I don't know. There's probably something else, but that's all I can think of right now. But this fear, it lands, I think, so easily in our body because we want to survive. And in the same way, we have some kind of ideas of like, oh, we shouldn't be judgmental. Yeah, sure, we shouldn't be judgmental. However, we can't stop our own judgments. They they come as easily as the inhale after exhaling. Like we don't even notice, we're not aware of most of our judgments we make or most of the assessments we do. But just like courage is only available if we actually are fearful or scared, but then we do something anyways. And in the same way with judgments, like you're going to judge, just let it roll off. Don't take your judgment so seriously. Notice it for your own work, but don't hold your judgments against people, is the idea. Inhale, roll up, and then a little movement to extend over your long leg. And then bow over. Beautiful long leg. So one way is, if you notice your judgment, like, oh yeah, interesting, I judged that way. Now can I find out more? Now can I be curious beyond that? And right now, the same kind of attitude with fear. We need it so much. We need it already. We've used it already. But our courage is essential in this time. Despite your fears, what do you really think? What do you really believe? Where is your faith? What do you know as truth? In a way, we need to kind of fortify and practice being ourselves in the face of fear. With your inhale, roll up. And now you're going to bring both of your feet, well, maybe spin to the front of the yoga mat if you're on the side. Do the stretch thingy that I forgot to tell you to do. Thank you, Sabine. So you're going to stretch that whole other side of your body. Oh, yeah. It's a lovely good morning stretch. Oh, good morning. And then bring the bottoms of your feet together. Take your heels 2 lengths away from your groin, and we're going to come back into reclining fish. Sometimes called reclining butterfly. It's actually not reclining fish. I don't know. Fishes don't recline. You can shimmy your elbows, or when they're reclining, they're actually dead and they're floating on top of the water. No, so we're doing just yin fish. Let your head hang back if it's okay for your neck. If it's not, the posture doesn't lose very much if you keep your chin towards your chest. These times are so complicated because I think we can also very elegantly weave our fear into logic, or take someone else's fear and then their expectations or wishes of what you would do, and think that we're being kind to the other person when we're not being true to ourselves. That's the illusion. You know, like this fictitious idea that we can be untruthful for someone else's good. And I'm sorry, but I don't know if you've seen any movies or fairy tales, but that never works. It's just a huge waste of time to lie. Instead, put your effort into being kind, into being generous with your truth. Just like Buddha's 5 remembrances is being truthful about what we know is true. We're going to get sick. We can't live a full life without actually getting ill. There's something, maybe you've even experienced this, where through an illness, you've learned something new. That your elbows slide out to the side, or you've become stronger in your recovery. Of course, you know, we want to be inspired to imagine that we could avoid death, but maybe avoidance is really the wrong way to go at it. We don't have to want to die to know that we're going to. And when we remember that we're going to, it can help us be more ourselves. Like nobody gets out of this alive. Life isn't safe. Now stretch your legs long. Let your arms relax beside you. We're just doing a mini Shavasana to let your body drop to the mat. So the action of starting our class with Yin Yoga can result in the consequence of actually releasing more energy in your day, in your Yang practice. So hug your knees into your chest. And first just roll side to side, massaging your lower back, your hips. And then let your side to side start to be little circles. And then let your circles evolve to being rocking back and forth. and rock up into a seated position, and we're going to tuck our toes under. Coming into toes pose for our ohms. Bring your hands to heart center. Even with your eyes closed, you want to keep your chin lifted as if you were looking straight out at the horizon. Take a full breath in first and then let it go completely. Take a deep inhale. Ah. Keep your hands in prayer. Softly open your eyes. Squeeze your knees together and see if you can lift them up. Brah. Yeah, you got the wiggle. Now, maybe you have a little bit more, maybe you weren't running up hills yesterday, and you can slowly start to lift all the way up to your toes. Stretch your arms up. So nice if you can hold on to the ceiling. And then with your exhale, rewind. Bring your hands to heart center, and then see if you can come all the way back. Oh my gosh, that's intense. Down to toe pose. And then bring your hands forward, slap out your feet. I feel like my thighs have swallowed rocks yesterday. That was intense. And then roll back, stretching the tops of your feet and your ankles. And then come into tabletop. And we're going to just start with some simple cat cows. Inhale, lift up your chest, your head, feel your hips lifting up. Exhale, push your belly up to the sky, arch your back, empty out. Inhale, come into cow pose. Exhale into cats. And then inhale, move forward, and you can make your cow a little bit more dynamic, like dancing cow pose, like maybe wiggle a little, move, explore it, like what it would be like to be a cow. And then with your exhale, pull your belly in and explore the cattiness of this lovely little stretch. Ironically, cows can stretch like this too, whenever they go to pee or poo. Yeah, good, fun tips. We live on a dairy farm. And then just take your spine and see if you can make a snake come alive in your spine. So see if you can make your spine wiggle, undulate. And then see if you can actually kind of smoothly dance your cow cat undulating dancing spine down into child's pose. Stretch your arms out, feel your hips push back onto your heels. Take a full breath in, sigh it out. And then extend your legs and find your way into downward facing dog. Maybe you've got a little snap, crackle, pop. And now bend and straighten one leg at a time, kind of pedaling your heels out. Notice how much that moves in your body. And then inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. Wiggle around your toes, your ankle. Bend and straighten your leg a couple of times, maybe even giving yourself a loving little kick in the butt. And then bend your knee and actively spin your hip open. Pressing your knee to the ceiling and your heel towards your buttocks. And then with your exhale, step your right foot all the way forward to your right hand and let your left knee come to the ground. Stretch your left toes out. Now, first, you're going to pull your belly towards you, and then you're going to lift your arms up. And with your arms lifted, see if you can drop into the stretch a little bit more, and then pull your root lock in, contract your belly, lift up a little bit, come engaged in the pose. Again, drop into the stretch with your exhale, pull in, feeling like you're squeezing your skin to your bones. One more time, exhale, release, stretching even the front of your left thigh. Exhale, pull in, feel your hips squeezing. And with your exhale, bring your hands down, tuck your left toes under, float your left knee, and then stretch your right leg back up to the sky first, and then relax it down to the ground. Now, take a couple moments first, maybe bending your knees more deeply. You can undulate your downward facing dog. It's a fancy way of saying make it do waves. And then stretch your gorgeous left leg up and out. Wiggle your toes, roll your ankle, bend and straighten your knee. And then bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Keeping your shoulders square to the mat. And with your exhale, step your left foot all the way forward to your left thumb. Let your right knee come down. Pull in your abdominal muscles and raise your arms up. And play with this kind of squeezing into it and releasing into it. So we pull, I nearly feel like I'm trying to squeeze my hips and my abdominals engage and my root lock lifts up. And then with the exhale, the root lock still stays, but you can drop into the front foot a little bit more. Let the stretch come into the hip flexor of your right leg, your upper thigh. Inhale, pull in, feel this power you have from your legs, from your abdominals. And with your exhale, drop into the stretch. I think we have one more cycle. Inhale, feel the contraction and holding yourself in the pose here. And then with the exhale, feel the surrender. And then bring your hands back down, stretch your left leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, relax your left leg down. Inhale, take your hips up and back. Empty your breath all the way, look forward and lightly hop your feet in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, fly your arms up. Now, we're going to take a couple breaths here. And I really want you to feel like you're reaching your back body to the ceiling. It's like you're creating more space in your body. And with your exhale, release and bow down. I like to hug my legs here, but you can do whatever. Then root down with your feet and slowly roll all the way up to the sky. Stretch up tall. And with your exhale, relax your arms down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Come to chaturanga or the ground through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Feel your legs powerful and strong. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Inhale here. And then with your next exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. And then inhale, lift up, crescent lunge. With your exhale, bend your back knee, tap your yoga mat. Inhale, straighten both of your legs. Exhale, tap. Inhale, up. Exhale, tap. Now keep your front knee bent, stretch your back leg, maybe lift your heart. And with your exhale, softly vinyasa. I don't know how you do that, but be gentle and kind with yourself as you move. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Keeping your shoulders squared. And then step your foot forward with your next exhale. Rise up, crescent lunge. Get strong in your back leg, heel pushing into nothing. With your exhale, bend your knees so you can tap your right knee to the earth, then straighten both of your legs. Bend, tap the earth, straighten both of your legs. Bend, tap the ground. Now this time you're going to keep your left knee bent and just straighten your right leg. And with your exhale, chaturanga or the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Find a small bend in your knees in your downward facing dog. Roll the bottom of your hips, the bottom of your bottom, up towards the sky. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way. Walk or float forward. Inhale, fly your arms, really feel the sensation of your back lifting. With your exhale, hug the back of your knees with your arms. Let your head drop. And then you're gonna roll all the way up. And with this one, go all the way back down with your exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Inhale here. Exhale, step your right foot all the way forward, rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Inhale, reverse your triangle. So you're going to straighten your front leg. And with your exhale, you're going to bring your left heel in and come into goddess, wide leg goddess. So horse, that's what the word I was looking for. Horse goddess, that makes a lot of sense. So bring your hands into, I kind of like the big O or prayer. And maybe like start to play a little with it. See if you can keep your hips low and bring a wave into your arms, or maybe you can reach your ribs around and do circles. But whatever you do, don't lift your butt up. Maybe drop it down a little bit more. And then inhale, stretch up into star. So you straighten your arms. And then with your exhale, you spin your right toes to the front of the room, come into warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Take an inhale here, squaring your shoulders, and with your exhale, bring your foot all the way forward to your left thumb. Rise up, crescent lunge. And with your exhale, open up, warrior two. Reverse your triangle, so straighten your leg. And with your exhale, move open into horse, I believe we went. Yes. So if you want to try a little experiment, you can take your hands back behind you and trace your spine with your fingertips to reverse prayer. Feel how this encourages the opening in your chest. Find the weight in your heels. Or you can lift your heels and just be on your tippy toes. Whatever challenges you. Sometimes even just being in this posture is challenge enough. You don't need anything extra. See if you can sink your hips down a little bit more. And on your inhale, you're going to stretch your legs, reach your arms out into star pose. And then adjust your feet and exhale, come into warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Drop your knees to the ground and come into child's pose. We're nearly there. We had a long yin session, so a little shorter yang session today. But notice even with the smooth and not so fast pace, you still have an experience of your breath getting a little bit more intense, your body getting a little bit more work, your fire coming into your body. And then roll up so you're standing on your shins. It's like the war of the little people or something. Now, in this variation, I want you to hold on to your inner thighs from behind. What? So it's not your butt, it's not your back. You go all the way down and hold, see if you can hold your inner thighs. And then really lift your chest up and lift your chin up. And maybe you have a little bit of a drop. Keep your hips pushing forward. Rotating your inner thighs back towards the back wall if you feel ambitious. And then inhale, lift up. And with your exhale, come either just down onto your heels in a seated position to recover, or if you prefer, you can do child's pose. So maybe you haven't tried that variation before by holding your thighs, but it makes you kind of go somewhere else in the pose. And we're going to do it again. Yay. That's what you're thinking, Layla. I could see it. And now yogi's choice, either hold onto your back, hold onto your thighs, or you can let your hands drop to your heels. But again, feel this extension in your lower back and the lift of your chest, like you're creating space rather than just dropping into what you got. And find your way into your version of camel pose. Maybe you can stick out your tongue and add a lion's breath to it, looking at your third eye. Stay a little bit longer. See if you can enliven the pose with your presence. And then inhale, lift up. And with your exhale, just sit your hips back down and then drop to one side. Take your feet in front of you. Hold onto the backs of your thighs. Pull your belly in and roll down to your yoga mat. And we're going to do one more back bend before the end of class. Yogi's choice, bridge or wheel. It can even be supported bridge, which is really nice. If you have yoga blocks kicking around, of course, but there's a really quick, easy supported bridge that is available to you all the time, where you lift up your hips and then you bring your hands underneath your sacrum, underneath your butt, so to say. Upper butt this time, not your lower butt. Sounds like you have multiple stories. All right, spin your toes in slightly, get enlivened in the pose. Knowing that class is nearly over, you can be fiery, you can give it what you got. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring your hips back down, slide your feet out, let your knees drop together for a moment. Again, notice the vibrancy and the energy in your body. Now, is it just your body? Is it just your feelings? Has it changed your thinking? Is it all of the above and then some? And then hug your knees into your chest. Take your arms out. Turn your palms down to the ground. Squeezing your knees together. Slowly drop your knees to your left, keeping your knees at least as high as your hips. And then once you reach the ground, take a full breath in, and with your exhale, sigh it out. And then pushing your palms towards the ground again, slowly lift up your knees and slowly take them to the right-hand side. Once they've eventually dropped to the ground, take a full breath in. And with your exhale, just sigh it out. And then one more effort moment. You're going to keep lifting your knees back up to center nice and slowly. You can feel you're pulling your abdominals to your spine. And then find your way into Shavasana. Let your legs stretch out, or if that's uncomfortable for your lower back, you can always have your knees bent as wide as your yoga mat with your knees falling back together. Feel the ground hold you. With your next inhale, invite your breath to the edges of your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, your nose. And then stretch your arms long on your inhale, reaching your feet away from your hands. Get as long as you can. And with your exhale, curl into a ball and drop into one side. Take a moment and just notice your own vibrancy. And then help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Take a moment to notice, was it as bad as you feared? Was it actually okay that you did yoga today? Very, 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 very rarely do you ever regret practicing. And then bring your hands to heart center. Close your eyes, and whether you are alone in your room or together with other people, with your eyes closed, just picture other people doing this practice, doing the work. And let's close with one Om. Empty your breath first. Take a deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward, together we say, Namaste. And so much love. Make some noise. Yes. Well done. Thank you. Thank you.